The first time I came to United States, wherever I went, I heard this term, stress management. I could not understand because in my understanding, we manage things which are precious to us. Our families, our businesses, our money, our property, whatever is precious to us, we will manage that. Why would somebody want to manage stress? I couldn't get it for some time. Then I realized people have made a conclusion that stress is an extra limb that they have in their body. Stress is an appendage that they cannot get rid of. Stress is not a part of you. You get stressful because you do not know how to handle your mind. No attention is being paid as to how to handle this mind, how to handle this emotion, how to handle this body, how to handle these energies. Nothing has been done about it. You're managing such a sophisticated system accidentally. So you being stressful is a natural outcome of such unconscious living. There is no other way to be. Don't think your job is stressful. Now you're a student, being a student is stressful. If you don't find employment when you come out of the college, that is stressful. If you get a job, even more stressful. If you don't get married, that is very stressful. If you get married, I don't want to say anything. If you don't have children, that is stressful. If you have children, you pull your hair out with stress. So, it is not your job or your life situations which are stressful. Stress is happening to you because of your inability to manage your own system. Not knowing how to manage the system is stressfulness. If this happened the way you want it, you wouldn't be stressful. If you do simple inner engineering process, just 21 minutes a day. Today you take your pulse rate before and after food. Do it for 6 weeks, check your pulse rate and see, it will be considerably down. Which essentially shows, with the same level of activity, this is a simple indicator. There are many other parameters that you could check, but this is an extremely simple indicator for which you don't have to go to any laboratory, you can check it yourself. The lowering of the pulse with the same level of activity indicates that your system is going at an easier pace. That means it's working much more efficiently. If you drive your car at 2000 RPM, the engine may last 100,000 kilometers or miles. If you drive the same engine at 5000 RPM, it may last only 50,000 miles or less, simply because it's unnecessarily revved up. So if this can do everything that it has to do at an easy pace, that means it is happening efficiently. Any machine which has least amount of friction within itself happens efficiently, naturally produces more with least amount of stress. It is definitely time you do some inner engineering. Don't worry about your work, you give it up. What do you want? You want a roof? I'll give you. You want food every day? I'll give you. All you have to do is just sit in one place and be blissful. I will feed you for the rest of your life. Can you do? No, you want to mess up something every day. People say they're only working for a living. I said, don't worry, I'll give you shelter, I'll give you food every day, no problem. All you have to do is, I want to see tears of blissfulness every day. That's all the requirement. You don't have to do any work, you don't have to serve me, you don't have to produce anything, nothing. Just sit here blissfully, we'll feed you, we'll worship you. No. So the problem is not in your work, the problem is not in your life, the problem is not in the world that you live, the problem is just that you have not done the necessary things for this one to flow through this effortlessly, beautifully. The necessary work has not been done and we are just hoping it'll happen by accident. It doesn't happen by accident. Lot of people in the world think United States of America is heaven. But people who live here don't think so at all. Isn't it so? Isn't it? A lot of people in the world are dying to get an entry into the country. If you open up the southern borders, 10 million people will enter tomorrow morning because they think this is heaven. But you are not experiencing it that way, isn't it? You are not experiencing this as heaven because hell and heaven is not a geographical place. Hell and heaven is what you make out of yourself, isn't it? Too much talk about heaven has been going on because there are too many people who made a hell out of themselves. If you had made a heaven out of yourself, would you talk about going to heaven? If you sit here and you're feeling ecstatic right now, would you aspire to go to heaven, I'm asking? Once it happened, early 20th century, an Orthodox Greek church, a bishop from that church, Orthodox Greeks have their own separate church, they have their own pope who lives in Turkey, you know this? So a bishop from this order had heard so much about Indian mysticism and he wanted to go to India, but he never got around to make it because he had to serve the cloth that he wore. And after 60 years of age, when he is semi-retired, he got the opportunity and went to India. So he came to South India, near where we are, and he wanted to meet a mystic, a yogi. So somebody said, go up this mountain, near a cave, there is a yogi sitting, you can go. So our man went, plodded up the mountain, halfway up and went. In front of a cave, an old man with a gentle smile upon his face was just sitting with his eyes closed. So the bishop went and prostrated. He cannot do it, he is not made for that. But they had told him, if you go to India, you have to crawl. He prostrated like this and with all his four limbs he got up. The yogi looked at him with amusement. Obviously he has never prostrated anywhere before. And he smiled. Then the bishop said, I am like this, I am a bishop. I have served in the church for so long, but I have a few questions, can you answer? The yogi smiled and said, yes, please, whatever the question. Then the bishop asked, what is life? At the age of 60. What is life? So the yogi closed his eyes, became very blissful and said, life is like the fragrance of a jasmine on the spring breeze. And tears of blissfulness flowed out of his eyes as he was saying this. Then the bishop said, no, no, no. Our Pope has told us life is like a thorn and we must renounce it. And even symbolically, Jesus himself wore
a crown of thorns. So, how come you say this? Our Pope says otherwise. The yogi looked at him, smiled and said, well, that's his life. So, what you make out of it is not because of where you are, what you are, it is just what you make out of it, isn't it?
Yes.
So, have you created the necessary mechanism? Have you created the necessary system? Have you created the necessary ingredients within you to make this like the fragrance of jasmine on a spring breeze and not a thorn? If it's a thorn, we must pluck the damn thing out, isn't it? Isn't it so?